Russia says it's not deliberately targeting civilians in this war, but there is no other description for what happened to Natalia than deliberate. It's a miracle she's still alive after the day Russian troops occupied her town of Polochy.
I walked to where my mother lived. A soldier stopped me and I raised my hands. I told them I'd been let through, but the soldier fired a burst of gunfire, hitting me in the legs, hitting me everywhere from the waist down. I'd asked how many millimeters away from death I was. The doctor said 1 millimeter. Everything is damaged. My private parts too. He was shooting to kill.
Oryhiv is the next town along the southern road from where Natalia was shot. Still in Ukrainian hands, but regularly shelled by Russia. This village is the last one before the front line. Shells land in these fields periodically, and the next village down the road is occupied by Russian troops, and civilians have been killed in these villages. Now, many younger people have left here already, but others, in particular the elderly, they remain, but they know they're taking a big risk. Lida's modest farm is right at the edge of Oryhiv, the most exposed, dangerous part of town. Her sick husband and children are safe a few miles away, but she remains looking after her crops and animals. She takes me to see where she sleeps, not in the house, but in this cold, damp cellar, primitive cover from the Russian shells. I'm hiding here in this bunker because they're bombing us and attacking us from each side, says Lida. I hate them. I hate them. We used to live in peace and we were happy. Speculation about Russian troop withdrawals around Kyiv is treated with scepticism here in the south, where heavy fighting continues. Russia's assault on Mariupol is intense. Civilians like Natasha, who was blinded by Russian shelling, are still suffering.
My sons were in the basement. The 19-year-old visits me, but as for the 5-year-old, I don't think he should be seeing his mum like this. I miss them so much. I want to give my little boy a hug and a kiss.
Buddha Davis, BBC News, Oryhiv.
There were peace talks this week, but there's no peace yet. The Russian military released these images of it launching ballistic missiles towards Ukraine. An army spokesman said Russia was continuing its special military operation and had destroyed fuel storage sites, arms depots and Ukrainian drones. Continuing in Russia, encouraged by the authorities, public displays of support for the offensive. These buses form the letter Z that's painted on Russian military vehicles in Ukraine. You'll find Zs now on billboards, on government buildings, even on the side of theatres. And here, this is the home of human rights activist Oleg Orlov. Those who criticise Russia's onslaught in Ukraine have become targets of abuse.
Russia is heading towards, in fact, it's almost arrived at, something very similar to what we saw in Germany in the 1930s. Everything feels very familiar, and that's important.
In Russia, right now, there is no room for alternative views, for public expressions that contradict the official opinion, and that is particularly true of events in Ukraine. The Kremlin wants the public here to believe that the Russian offensive there is both necessary and just. The Russian authorities have banned the word war in relation to Ukraine. So, when Dmitry Reznikov took part in an anti-war protest, he didn't use any words at all. He was still arrested, though, and fined for discrediting the Russian army.
I was detained within 30 seconds. I don't think it would have mattered what was written there. Some people have been arrested just for holding up a plain piece of paper, because everyone knows what it means and what it stands for.
In Vladimir Putin's Russia, even the slightest hint of dissent is seen by those in power here as a significant threat, to be eliminated. But in a country where opposition to the government has been crushed, where critical voices are being silenced, where the media is under almost total state control, for now, the Kremlin doesn't feel under any public pressure to make peace in Ukraine. Steve Rosenberg, BBC News, Moscow.